It's almost been a year since last summer, which means that once again, summer is about to begin. And if you still remember, last year I challenged myself to learn Japanese every single day for 5 hours a day for the entire summer. And the reason I did it was because I had just finished taking all the 6000 cards from the Core 2K6 deck after having used it for around 950 days, and I saw that as a huge milestone that signified a transition from building a foundation to focusing primarily on immersion. So I wanted to celebrate it by doing as much immersion as possible. It was also the time I started properly sentence mining for the first time as well, because now that I no longer had any pre-made cards to take, it was time to make my own. Sentence mining was pretty hard at first, but I got better at it and pretty used to it over time, and of course now I'm using Migaku for sentence mining, so making my own cards is pretty easy. And believe it or not, I just hit 6000 cards in my own deck as well. This means that it took me 950 days or around 2.5 years to learn my first 6000 words, but it took me less than a year to go from 6000 to 12,000 words. So I basically doubled my vocabulary in less than a year. It's pretty crazy even to myself, because I remember occasionally struggling with learning 5 new words a day from the Core 2K6 deck, and now I've been taking around 20 new cards a day consistently since last summer. The funny thing is that originally I planned on taking 20 new cards only for like a week or two to see how it goes, and while it definitely was pretty hard at first, I just kinda got used to it, and now I don't really find it all that more difficult compared to taking only 5 cards a day. Anyway, since it's nearly summer again, some of you might be wondering whether or not I'm going to be doing some similar challenge this summer, and the answer is no. This summer, I just really want to go and touch some goddamn grass, because honestly, I feel like my face is sunburned from the monitor at this point. But of course, I'll still keep on learning Japanese, and I'll just be doing what I've been doing for a while now, aka just do my Anki reviews, sentence mine 20 new cards a day, and do immersion for fun whenever I feel like it and have time for it. I honestly feel like I have a really healthy relationship with learning Japanese, as I don't feel any burnout nor issues with motivation, and I genuinely do enjoy Japanese immersion. I mean, Anki does take at least an hour a day, but at this point I'm so used to it that I don't really mind it. And even though I'm not really putting in as many hours into immersion as I did during the first 5-hour summer challenge, I'm still very much satisfied and have a lot to look forward to when it comes to learning Japanese. However, I do have some plans for this summer in terms of making videos. Namely, I'd like to try experimenting with different kinds of formats, and perhaps even try out some new video editing software as well. While I think the format I'm using right now is great for what it's for, it's kind of limiting to force myself to only make these video essay type videos. The way I usually make a video is that I write a script and then I start narrating and editing it. But the issue with scripting the entire video before you even start working on it is that it doesn't allow for incremental, unexpected progression. For instance, when I took the JLPT mock exams and tried VR chat on video, I did not use a script, so even I myself didn't know how those videos were going to end up, and I want to make more videos in that style. Making those kinds of videos is occasionally more enjoyable to myself as well, because they're less linear, not as grindy, and they also give me so much more freedom with what I can do in terms of editing, humor, and the contents of the video itself. So I definitely want to try doing more of that. Also, the main tool I use for making videos is Sony Vegas 13 and occasionally After Effects. And while I think Sony Vegas has amazing timeline editing capabilities, I feel like it also has some limitations, such as the lack of manual keyframe velocity control, which After Effects has, but working back and forth with After Effects and Sony Vegas is really slow. Of course, if I used Adobe Premiere instead of Sony Vegas, that issue would be solved, but that means that I'd also have to learn Premiere, and learning new software is a really big and frustrating time investment, especially if you just want to get something done and know how easily you could do it if you just went back to the programs that you're comfortable with. I've actually tried learning Premiere, and I just don't really like it to the extent that I've bothered learning it, especially because Adobe software is extremely expensive, so I feel like learning it is not worth my time or nerves, which is why I'd like to try out DaVinci Resolve. I've heard a lot of good things about it, and it's also free, which is really important because it makes it a long-term solution and I don't have to worry about paying for it or having to pirate it. I'm not really sure whether or not Resolve is intended for timeline editing, but I decided that I could just try it out and see what happens and also make a video about it, so stay tuned for that, I suppose. there are a bunch of other topics I'd like to make a video about this summer as well. For example, one of them is about mechanical keyboards. Now, while I haven't actually touched the hobby for years, I used to be really interested in them already back in like 2014, back when most people didn't even understand what mechanical keyboards were. Nowadays, literally everyone has a custom keyboard, so maybe the topic isn't as novel anymore, but I'd still like to make a video talking about my own adventures with mechanical keyboards, as well as show my own self-made keyboard that I hand-wired myself. Besides that, I'd perhaps also like to make a video related to weightlifting, and there's also this really big real-life project that I thought about doing and making a video about, but it's kind of time-consuming and expensive, so I'm not really sure whether or not I can, but I would really like to, so we'll see. Also, to this day, I'm still receiving comments on my game dev video saying that there are people who would like to see more game dev videos, and recently I've been actually checking out this engine called Godot. Well, at first, I was really hesitant to try it out. Comes out that I actually really like that engine, and most likely, if I'm going to make game dev videos, they're going to be using the Godot engine. I actually already have some plans on what kind of game dev videos I would like to make, but unfortunately, those videos are once again something that take at least 100 hours per video because I have to make some actual progress in terms of development as well, and if my plan was to touch more grass this summer, mixed with already having to do quite a lot of work on the computer, I'm not really sure how that's going to work out, but maybe I can make at least one video, so once again, we'll see. And finally, I know a lot of people ask about drawing and are wondering whether or not I'm still practicing, and the answer is yes, I still do drawing practice every once in a while, but unfortunately because it's pretty low on my list of priorities, I often have periods where I don't draw for multiple weeks, such as right now. But I always come back to it, and I plan on getting more serious about it sometime in the future. Well, anyway, I'm really looking forward to the summer, and I can't wait to start experimenting with some new videos. Unfortunately, during the past month, I've become extremely busy. For example, this video was supposed to be out weeks ago, but I literally couldn't work on it, so sadly, I can't really promise exactly what or how many videos I'll make, but I'll still try my best, and I hope to see you in the next video, so goodbye.